Before we get started here, I'd like to point out the version of SimSmith that I'm using. Here I'm going to be using 17.2N as in Nancy. Always, whenever you're trying something new in SimSmith, I recommend using the most recent release. It avoids your running into bugs which others have seen and reported and I have fixed. So let's get started. Welcome aboard. This is Ward Harriman, AE6TY. I thought I'd spend a moment here and put together a comprehensive video showing how to get that very first EZNec simulation into a brand new installation of SimSmith. I just recently installed EZNec version 6. I'm going to run it here and generate an output from a simulation. Now, this is a brand new installation, except I have come in here and set the SWR range to 270 to 310 megahertz in 0.1 megahertz steps. This was only to get a little wider simulation run frequency-wise than would otherwise have happened. So I've changed nothing else about the installation except this. I'm going to go ahead and run it. This may take some time. If it takes too long, I promise I'll edit out the run. It's always a question about where that file was written and what the name was. It turns out that here, if I go to Options and Folders, and I look at Output Files, it will show me the directory that it used to write the output. And we already know, or may already know, that the output that I'm interested in is called lastz.txt. So now I'm going to go get a copy of SimSmith and install it. This is the home page. I'm going to warp to the SimSmith directory, and I'm going to go to the recommended installation. And I'm running on Windows 64. And I want to run it. This will take a while, and I'll delete it out. Okay, so the protection software didn't like it. This code is not code signed, and so I have to override this. So I said more info, and I'm going to say run anyway, and get rid of this. So now we're installing SimSmith. This takes a little while. It's a fair-sized program. Yes, we want to make changes. Here you'll see, if you've used it before, you can now have SimSmith associated with S1P files and CSV files. I go ahead and leave those on because I don't use those file extensions for anything other than SimSmith, but that's up to you. We'll say next. And we want an icon, and we want it on the desktop. Yes. Finish. This is a new installation, so it couldn't read the last session. No surprise there. This is all okay. And now it's going to give me a bunch of notes about things that have changed recently. I know all that. And here's SimSmith running. I'm going to make this a little bigger. SimSmith scales everything as you make your window bigger. So I need bigger text and bigger everything, so it all happens. And now I want to make this a little bigger even still, so I'm going to make this. I'm going to pull on that little circle. Now I'm going to go find that file. I click on this button down here, and I get SimSmith's file chooser. And the file we're looking for was in Documents, EZNec, And the one we're interested in is lastz.txt. Double click on that. And it doesn't cover the 10, see right here I'm running 10 megahertz and it says the file doesn't cover 10 megahertz. Do I want to change that? And I say yes. So we've loaded in the file. You can see it here. It is being used to describe this circuit element's characteristics, but we don't see any sweep over here, and that's because we haven't enabled a sweep. So I'm going to pull on this little dot right here to make this bigger, and I'm going to add a sweep variable, which is right here, the file, l.file. I want to add that. And I want to turn on sweeping of that file. So I'm going to say yes. And here is the sweep that we got out of EZNec. So let's do a quick comparison here. If I come down here and click on this, I will get a large square chart and the Smith chart will disappear. Well, the Smith chart comes down here. We are not interested in power. Here's the SWR. This is a different scale than is used in EZNec, but we have a scale that's used in EZNec. And if I click on this right here one time, this is the scale that EZNec uses. It's basically rho, or the absolute value of gamma, the reflection coefficient, but with SWR labels. Let's move this over here. And let's take a look at the SWR that EZNec showed us. Yes, I just want to use the old data. And with the exception of horizontal scaling, they're pretty much the same. So there you have it. Installation of SimSmith. That's how to bring in that first EZNec. It's pretty straightforward. Thanks for watching. Thanks for using SimSmith.